this. Have you ever felt like your mind is racing faster than your life? Thoughts piling up, worries stacking, this, plans multiplying, and yet nothing seems to settle. You're not alone, this. Most people live trapped in this storm of endless thinking, and it quietly steals their focus, energy, and peace, this. But here's the truth: the speed of your mind doesn't have to control you. In the next few minutes, you'll discover the simple yet profound secret to calming your thoughts, finding clarity, and tapping into a power you didn't know you had. By the end of this speech, you'll understand why silence is not emptiness. It's your greatest strength. Have you ever noticed how fast your mind moves? One thought jumps to another, and before you know it, you are trapped in a whirlwind of ideas, worries, and plans. Most people mistake this constant motion for productivity, believing that the busier their mind is, the more effective they are. But in reality, a mind that moves too fast is a mind that loses its power. It scatters your attention, frays your energy, and prevents you from experiencing life fully. When thoughts rush uncontrollably, you rarely pause to reflect, rarely give yourself space to breathe, and rarely make decisions with clarity. Instead, you react, overthink, practice, and feel perpetually exhausted. The faster your mind moves, the more it pushes you away from the very calm and focus you secretly crave. Living with a racing mind can feel like running on a treadmill that never stops. You wake up with a long list of things to do, but before you complete one task, 5 more arrive in your head. Every detail, every worry, every what if spins out of control. You begin to feel trapped inside your own thoughts, a prisoner of mental chaos. And the truth is this is not a sign of ambition or intelligence. It is a sign that your energy is fragmented. Your mind is working overtime, yet it is not working for you. It is working against you. It steals your attention, your creativity, and even your joy. When your mind is moving too fast, you miss the subtle beauty of life. You miss the quiet moments where insights are born, where connections deepen, and where true clarity arises. The speed of your mind affects everything: your decisions, your relationships, and even your health. When you are constantly thinking, worrying, or planning, you are in a state of constant tension. Your body mirrors this mental chaos with tight muscles, shallow breathing, and restless energy. You may find it difficult to sleep, to focus, or to enjoy simple pleasures. Even when you try to slow down, your mind resists, pulling you back into the relentless race. But here's the paradox: the faster you go, the slower you truly live. The more you rush, the less you notice. The more you chase, the more you lose sight of what actually matters. Breaking free from this speed trap is not about forcing your mind to stop entirely. It is about learning to guide it, to slow it down, and to choose where to focus. It begins with awareness. Start noticing when your mind accelerates, when thoughts multiply, and when you feel overwhelmed. Recognize that this speed, while common, is not necessary. You have the power to reclaim your attention. The goal is not to eliminate thinking, but to create space between thoughts, to find pauses where clarity can emerge. When you slow down your mind, you open yourself to insight, creativity, and presence. Decisions become easier, relationships become deeper, and your energy becomes more focused. You start to live life rather than merely react to it. The speed trap is subtle but relentless, and it affects almost everyone in today's world. We are constantly bombarded with information, notifications, and demands. Our minds are conditioned to move fast, to anticipate, and to respond instantly. Yet the very qualities that make a fast mind seem valuable are also the ones that rob it of depth. To move forward with purpose, to create meaningful change, and to experience true peace, you must learn to step off the treadmill of constant thought. You must cultivate the ability to pause, reflect, and engage with life at your own pace. Only then will you discover that a mind moving deliberately rather than frantically is the key to clarity, power, and freedom. Silence is often misunderstood. Many see it as emptiness, as weakness, or as a void where nothing happens. Yet, in truth, silence is one of the most powerful tools a human being can possess. When the mind is constantly busy, when thoughts race without pause, we rarely hear the subtle messages that life is trying to give us. We miss opportunities for insight, for clarity, and for growth because we are too distracted by noise, both outside and inside. Silence, however, allows us to slow down, to listen, and to connect with a deeper part of ourselves. It is in silence that the mind finds its natural rhythm, its clarity, and its strength. In a world obsessed with speed and constant action, practicing silence can feel unnatural. We are conditioned to fill every moment with words, activity, and stimulation. Yet the mind that embraces silence begins to notice things that others overlook. It notices the pauses between moments, the spaces between thoughts, and the subtle patterns that shape life. When you allow silence, you give yourself the chance to step back from the chaos, to reflect, and to respond rather than react. Silence is not a withdrawal from life, it is a way to engage more fully with it. It is the soil in which creativity, insight, and wisdom grow. The power of silence is also deeply practical. A quiet mind can make better decisions. When thoughts are still, distractions fade, and the mind can focus on what truly matters. Problems that seemed impossible in the noise of constant thinking suddenly appear manageable. Solutions become clearer, and intuition begins to guide your choices. Silence trains patience, allowing you to observe before acting and to respond rather than react impulsively. In relationships, silence brings presence. When you are quiet, you listen more deeply, you understand more fully, and you communicate with clarity and intention. The world around you begins to feel richer, more meaningful, and more alive. Silence also heals. The constant chatter of thoughts, worries, and anxieties can drain your energy and weigh heavily on your emotions. But when you cultivate silence, you create a sanctuary for your mind and spirit. In that space, stress diminishes, tension releases, and a profound sense of calm emerges. You learn to observe your thoughts without being consumed by them. You learn that peace is not found in controlling everything, but in accepting what is and responding with clarity and intention. The simple act of being silent allows the mind to recharge, to regain focus, and to operate at its highest potential. The practice of silence is not difficult. It only requires attention and patience. Start small, with a few moments each day, and gradually extend the time you allow yourself to be quiet. Notice the difference it makes in your thinking, your creativity, and your emotional state. You will begin to see that the moments you once filled with endless noise can become your greatest source of insight and strength. Silence teaches you to slow down, to be present, and to appreciate life in its fullest sense. It allows you to reconnect with yourself, to find clarity amidst confusion, and to act with purpose rather than haste. In essence, the power of silence lies in its ability to transform the way you experience life. It is the bridge between chaos and clarity, between distraction and focus, between reaction and intention. Those who master silence discover a strength that cannot be taken away, a peace that is impervious to external circumstances, and a wisdom that comes not from thinking more, but from listening more. By embracing silence, you cultivate a mind that is calm, aware, and capable of extraordinary insight. You begin to live with intention, to act with clarity, and to experience life in a way that is richer, deeper, and more meaningful than ever before. The journey to a calm and focused mind does not have to remain abstract or theoretical. There are practical techniques you can use every day to slow down your thoughts, cultivate stillness, and regain control over your mental energy. The first step is awareness. You cannot change what you do not notice. Pay attention to when your mind begins to race. Observe the patterns of your thoughts, the moments when distractions multiply, and the triggers that send you into overdrive. Awareness itself is a form of power, because once you see the speed at which your mind moves, you gain the ability to redirect it. One of the simplest yet most effective techniques is controlled breathing. Most people underestimate the power of their breath, yet it is the bridge between the body and the mind. When your mind races, your breath becomes shallow, your heart rate increases, and tension spreads through your body. By intentionally slowing your breath, you create immediate calm in both mind and body. Take deep, measured breaths, focusing on the rise and fall of your chest. Count each inhale and exhale if it helps. This simple act pulls your attention away from racing thoughts and anchors you in the present moment. It is a practical tool you can use anytime, anywhere to regain focus and clarity. Another technique is the deliberate practice of pauses. In our fast-paced world, we rarely allow ourselves to stop. Pauses, however, are the moments in which insight and clarity emerge. Before responding to a difficult situation, take a moment to breathe and reflect. Before making a major decision, give yourself space to consider your options fully. These pauses may seem small, but they carry enormous power. They prevent impulsive actions, reduce unnecessary stress, and allow your mind to operate from a place of awareness rather than reaction. Over time, these intentional pauses create a habit of mindfulness that permeates every aspect of your life. Visualization and mental rehearsal are additional tools that can transform a racing mind into a focused, productive one. Take a few moments each day to close your eyes and imagine yourself acting with calm, clarity, and confidence. Picture challenges being handled smoothly, interactions flowing naturally, and decisions unfolding with ease. By practicing this in your mind, you train your subconscious to respond to real life situations with the same composed energy. Visualization strengthens the connection between thought and action, and it allows your mind to move with purpose rather than chaos. Journaling is another technique that is incredibly effective for clearing mental clutter. Writing down your thoughts gives them a tangible form and allows you to examine them objectively. It is a way to release worries, organize ideas, and identify patterns that may be contributing to mental overload. When you put your thoughts on paper, you create a distance between yourself and the noise in your mind. You gain perspective and clarity, which makes it easier to prioritize, make decisions, and focus on what truly matters. Finally, cultivating moments of silence throughout your day reinforces all other practices. Begin with even a few minutes of stillness, sitting quietly and observing your thoughts without judgment. Over time, extend these periods and integrate them into your daily routine. You will discover that silence is not empty. It is filled with insight, creativity, and energy. by combining awareness, breathing, pauses, visualization, journaling, and deliberate silence. You develop a toolkit that allows you to master your mind rather than be controlled by it. These practical techniques are not just exercises, they are pathways to a life of clarity, focus, and purpose. When you begin to understand the mind, its speed, and its patterns, a profound shift occurs in the way you experience life. Most people move through their days reacting to circumstances, allowing external events and internal chaos to dictate their actions. They feel overwhelmed, drained, and powerless, believing that life is something that happens to them rather than something they can influence. The life-changing perspective comes when you realize that mastery over your mind transforms everything around you. By learning to slow your thoughts, cultivate silence, and direct your attention intentionally, you gain control over the most powerful tool you possess, your own consciousness. This shift in perspective is subtle at first, but its effects are enormous, touching every area of your life. When your mind is racing, you see life as a series of emergencies, as a constant struggle against time, distraction, and pressure. Every problem feels urgent, every challenge overwhelming, and every decision complicated. But when you develop the ability to pause, to observe, and to respond with clarity, life begins to appear differently. The same situations that once seemed chaotic now present opportunities. Challenges become lessons, and obstacles become invitations to grow. Your mind no longer exaggerates problems or multiplies stress. Instead, it sees what truly matters and acts with wisdom and intention. This perspective is life-changing because it allows you to operate from a place of power rather than panic, from a place of presence rather than reaction. One of the most profound aspects of this perspective is the understanding that time itself feels different when your mind is calm. When thoughts are scattered and racing, time feels compressed and fleeting. Days blur together, and the feeling of being behind becomes constant. But when you cultivate mental stillness, you experience time with depth and richness. Moments are no longer lost in the noise of endless thinking. You begin to savor experiences, notice details, and engage fully with the present. Life becomes expansive rather than rushed, and the sense of urgency that once dominated your mind is replaced with intentionality. You realize that the quality of your attention determines the quality of your life. This perspective also transforms relationships. When your mind slows, you listen more deeply, respond more thoughtfully, and engage more authentically. The way you interact with others changes, not because they change, but because you have changed. You begin to see the subtleties of human behavior, the emotions that lie beneath words, and the intentions that drive actions. Communication becomes clearer, empathy becomes stronger, and connections deepen. By changing how you experience your own mind, you change the world around you. The impact is profound and often surprising as small shifts in attention ripple outward, transforming entire environments and relationships. Finally, this life-changing perspective instills a sense of freedom that cannot be taken away. Most people are trapped by their thoughts, their fears, and their habits, believing that circumstances control them. But when you learn to manage your mind, you discover that true freedom comes from within. You can choose your focus, your response, and your energy. You realize that happiness, clarity, and purpose are not external conditions to be pursued. They are cultivated internally. The world may remain unpredictable and challenging, but your ability to navigate it with calm and intention becomes unshakable. This is the power of perspective. It turns ordinary life into a canvas for growth, insight, and fulfillment. By embracing this mindset, you see that the speed of the mind is not a limitation. Silence is not emptiness. Practical techniques are not trivial, and life-changing perspective is not abstract. Together, they create a framework for living with clarity, focus, and purpose. When you shift your mind, you shift your life. When you change how you think, you change how you experience the world. And in that change, you discover a freedom, a power, and a peace that transforms every moment into an opportunity to live fully, deeply, and intentionally.